Hey everybody, welcome to the CoinGeek Weekly Livestream. I am your host, Mr. Kurt Wuckert Jr., rocking live from not so sunny South Florida. It is thunderstorm season in a big way. I had power out for about half the day yesterday, and at any moment it could go out again. So if I suddenly disappear, I have not likely been assassinated. I am likely just caught in the tremendous power of the Lord's will with the weather. So everybody, I should be okay. I hope you're okay too. If you could like, subscribe, hit the alert bell and all that jazz, let our digital overlords know that you do indeed wish to receive my content directly into your brain via the channels that they both control and profit from. It would be much appreciated until we make our way to the Metanet, which is a little bit what we're going to be talking about today. Our guest today is one John Calhoun, also known as Calgoon on X, and one of the coolest guys I've met in the last year. I've met him online in various capacities for many years, but only met him in person this spring at the Austin Hackathon, and he's quite a cool guy and up to a bunch of interesting stuff. So we're going to be talking about various Metanet protocols and some of the stuff going on in the BSV space. So please stay tuned for that. We'll be up doing that in about 5 minutes. If you have not, I implore you, please read my pinned post on X. It is an article because I write articles. And this article is very specifically about how to monetize every single cycle of compute on your computer via a tokenization scheme that allows you to sell that compute to people that need computation. So if you ever thought like, man, I missed the boat on mining from home, I have a nifty idea that lets you mine not for blockchain assets, random cryptocurrencies, or start mining Monero on your boss's computer when he's asleep. Like that's not what I am telling you to do. But I come up with a way for you to leverage and monetize the hardware that you probably have in your own home for doing things like 3D modeling or protein folding, or potentially contributing to Terranode microservices. So please check out my article. Give me a little bit of feedback. I would be very curious what everybody thinks of it once you've read and digested and get your head around the idea. I think it's pretty nifty. I'm not saying it's going to be something that I want to implement. In fact, I encourage you, if you're out there, to implement it yourself. The thing that I want you to do is turn it into a company, make $1 billion, and cut me in just a little bit because it was an idea that I gave you. That would be delightful. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, Rock Wallet. If you want to hold on to your coins, whether that be BTC, BCH, BSV, Ethereum stable coins, or the new money stable coin, the only gasless stable coin that I know of in the universe, you're going to want to use Rock Wallet. And I am not just telling you to do that because they're a sponsor. We were a Rock Wallet user even before then. And by we, I mean the Gorilla Pool folks and me personally. I use the wallet myself for testing and the various things that I do in my real life. So good stuff. Did you like, subscribe, and hit the alert bell yet? If you have not and you're still thinking about it, just do that. Do it right now before we get to the ads and get to the other stuff. And I'm also supposed to say CoinGeek.com, tech talk you can trust. So I think if I say it 3 times, I actually get paid to do this show. So that'd be great. So I might just work it in there randomly. And you know that it's just completely authentic because I authentically want to get paid. So that's where we're at on all of that jazz. Please share with your friends. We'll probably take some questions from the troll box, unless I have a feeling we could just kind of talk, which, you know, I want everybody to know I'm not ignoring your questions. I let your questions inspire me. So sometimes instead of putting your question up, I will reword it and kind of make it a little bit my own, which I don't know how you feel about that, but it's the way that it happens. So anyways, we're going to play the ad. I'm going to take a little breather, whet my whistle, which is admittedly a little hoarse because I've been sick for now over 4 weeks, and good times, but we will indeed be right back. Hello, sir.
Hey Kurt, thank you so much for having me, and it's an honor to be here.
Yeah, for sure. No, really good to have you. For all first timers, we have to walk through your Bitcoin story. How did you get here? What did you think of Bitcoin when you first heard of it?
Mhm.
Was it a crazy idea? Was it a cool idea? Like what made you decide you were going to get involved?
Yeah,
Go. Floor is yours.
um, back in 2017, I think I would bet on sports through sports books that would allow deposit and withdrawal through crypto, right? Because it was really hard to bet prior to all of the legalization and stuff that went on. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I got into it. Then found like Ethereum and like all of the other altcoins, and then from there I learned about like the Bitcoin war between like the big blocks and the small blocks. And
Yeah.
I've been building software since about like 2014, 2015.
Okay.
So I understand like using things as like a medium of exchange, like maybe it's data storage, or using it as infrastructure. And um, the moment I heard about like infinite block size or infinite transaction size, like it really made sense to me that you know as like Moore's law keeps going up, like storage will get cheaper, and eventually we could do some
Yeah.
pretty insane stuff with that. And here we are with Terra node
Yeah.
launching, and it's exciting times.
Really cool. Meanwhile, the core versus knots people are arguing. I'm seeing people like, "What am I supposed to buy a terabyte hard drive once every 3 years?" And I'm like, "Oh, guys, a terabyte hard drive is going to be what, $80 on Amazon or something? What are we talking about?" But yeah, no, it is bonkers how inverted the conversation is when you talk to different people about it. Oh man,
Yeah.
were you so going back to the beginning there? Bitcoin, pre fork era. Like what was your take on it? Like for me, I always thought tokenization was the coolest thing. That's what I was the most
Mhm.
excited about conceptually. And
Yeah.
then I actually started working on a token thing in like 2015 with why can't I think of the name of it? Counterparty token protocol, which was kind of similar to Run in a lot of ways, but then then it just went kaput and really kind of kicked off the civil war for me. And now we're here 10 years later. But what was like, what really do you remember the first time somebody said Bitcoin to you? Like what was the
Um, Honestly, I think it had to have been like, not being able to put in a checking account or like a
yeah.
bank account into this website, and you can enter a Bitcoin address, and then you get
Yeah.
into like, oh, I don't need a bank account, like, oh, which you know really, you like, it got me into like being self-sovereign and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So really, like, that's where I think like I really got into it, just like
Cool.
from that. um, and then I found Twitch, right? And I think I
Yeah.
was like user 679 or something like that.
Nice. Yeah.
um, but yeah, so that was my like BSB. It was just, it all made sense. So I've just been
Yeah.
uh, back and forth since then through like uh, working like um, my day job, and like side
Sure.
projects. And with probably what we're about to get into here, like a lot of the tools now, it's really
Yeah.
easy to build some of these apps now, and
Yeah.
it's
Well,
exciting.
that was one of the struggles. I mean, a lot of people going back, 5 years, when Twitch was new, there was probably five serious token protocols and walled gardens and advocates of all these other things. And it's funny because we talked a lot about interoperability, but the tokens don't interoperate and there were no bridges. Like
Right.
kind of a gigantic pain in the ass actually. But also, as I recall, you worked a little with Twitch, or maybe a lot with Twitch. I don't remember exactly, but I know you had some proximity to like actually maybe developing with them. Was that the case?
Yeah, it was a little bit after Twitch. It was with Ordinal's Wallet, actually
Oh,
with
okay.
the NFT and
Yep.
BRC stuff on the BTC chain. And
Yeah.
I learned a lot there, and applying what I learned there to BSV, like the what's possible on BSV and what's built now on BSV.
Yeah.
It's much cooler than like anything you can do on BTC because
Yeah.
of interoperability. And it's like I said, it's exciting times because um, just I say interoperability is like the big word of the day. I'd
So
say.
let's get into that a little bit. I know, well, and today I guess there's basically two major stacks you can go with. I'm a big fan of, and Gorilla Pool is a maintainer of like the Bitcoin schema stack. So all this stuff, which actually Twetch used, like Twetches are sit in map data, the magic attribute protocol. But the other one, a little newer, and also exciting. Even though it's not mine, I also quite like it. But the Babbage stack in general, are sort of the I think basically he's called it the Metanet ecosystem at this point. But what's your experience deving? I don't know if you have experience working specifically in any of the Bitcoin schema stuff, but what is it about the Babbage / Metanet stack that appeals to you as a developer?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good question. So first, I'd look at it from like a wallet perspective, right? Unfortunately, in the past, I was affected by this actually. I was user 679 on Twitch, and I used Money Button, and I'd log in, once a day or once a month sometimes, right? And eventually, I came back to the site, and I wasn't able to log in anymore.
Yeah.
And I know all the data is on the chain, and like I could go get it myself and stuff, but um, like like that took away a lot of the users, and I think there are solutions now to
Yeah.
what happened there, right? And that is the BRC 100 wallet. Um, Ty Everett, I believe he's like the CEO and founder of Project Babbage, but he has a video on his Project Babbage YouTube video. I think it has like 150 views. It's crazy because it deserves a
Yeah.
lot more, but I think it's called No More Walled Gardens, right?
Yep.
And basically, what it talks about there is like that never, has to happen again, right? Like we're competing against each other, but we also need to understand that we're competing against other chains, right?
Yep.
And the BRC 100 wallet, um, that interoperable standard can allow all of BSV to compete on like the same plane to where like we're not all spending time on integrating 3 or 4 different wall standards,
Yep.
integrating authentication and identity management 3 or 4 different ways through 3 or 4 different providers. We could all be doing it the same exact way, right? And
Yep.
it's possible now, and we could spend time on doing way cooler stuff like
Right.
UX and logic and cool
Right.
crazy things. And I think that's how we win against other chains, right? Like is um, with the power of like that BRC 100 standard, and
Well, they just
um,
they just fall in line. I mean, even now there's probably 10 chains adjacent to Ethereum that also just use ERC20. And then so it just works. So you can just move your stuff from Ethereum to Polygon or whatever else, and
mhm.
it's just very simple because of even cross-chain interoperability because they're all based on each other. What is it about BRC? So it's funny. Me and you talked about this a little bit before the on-air time, but BRC 100 sounds like a BTC ordinals token protocol, which I think it is a token protocol on BTC ordinals, if I recall. But then it is also this wallet standard from the Babbage stack. Can you maybe just tell us in very simple terms what it is on BTC and what it is on BSV, because they're very, very different, even though they sound the same. And there's ordinals on both chains and whatever else. But we can focus more on the BRC 100 BSV wallet standard and why it actually matters.
Yeah, absolutely. So on BTC, BRC it's basically a token, like a token on BTC. Um, can't do much with it, right? There's no smart contract ability there, and transaction fees are really high. So, you have this token that just sits there and you hodl, and it's not much fun.
Yeah.
On the other hand, BRC 100 on like the Metanet on the Project Babbage stack, BSV. I believe BRC here stands for Bitcoin request. I really should know that with
Yeah,
like
I think
I'm sorry.
request for comment. It's based on ERC, which is Ethereum request for comment,
Yeah.
which goes way back to Linux request for comment. Basically, hey, I have a proposal. Give me feedback, community of devs, and we'll decide what the future looks like. But yeah,
Perfect. That's a really good explanation, better than I could have done. And it really it's in a set of rules for like the wallet, right?
yep,
How to sign transactions, how to store transactions and baskets on the wallet, how to right. So Project Babbage has their implementation called the Metanet wallet, right? And if another wallet ever came in, I don't know, Handcash, someone, right? And they
Yeah.
implemented the BRC 100 standard. The apps that I've built, like they don't need any logic change at all, right? Like it just plugs right in. My users can also go back and forth, right?
Right.
So it's really like, are you willing to, as a developer, myself, as a wallet provider, Project Babbage, you know, Handcash, etc. Are you willing to become, replaceable and willing to like compete at that level? And it's an amazing place for your users. It really creates a user value centric web, and I'm really excited about it. Uh, and that's why I'm building these apps that we're about to talk about. It's why I want to
Yeah.
influence other people to rebuild Twitch. You never know, but
Yeah. There you go. Have you
um,
looked at Tree Chat?
I've
Yeah.
actually on there.
Yeah.
I love it. It's really
Yeah. It's
cool.
very cool. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No,
And
for
I've
for
even
that reason, it's the interoperability. It's got, I think it's Twetch, the Hodl Locker stuff, and then his own like stuff that's made in Tree Chat, but again uses Bitcoin schema, so everything is just kind of okay. Here's this bucket and this bucket and this bucket, and we can all crisscross and pretty
I love
cool.
True Chat.
Yeah.
A really cool thing that you could do there is you can like generate images and videos and like tokenize them
Yes.
and sell them after, right? And I think that's really valuable. Like in like, the age of like all this AI generation stuff, being able to prove like who made it and what was your prompt, and I
Yeah.
think there's value in being able to sell the output there and as well as the input. So
Yeah. For
True Chat's
sure.
cool.
So I don't want to spend the whole time on Babbage stuff, but um, what is it about BRC 100 versus what is it, BIP 30? Is it 32, 39? I forget what it is where like
Mhm.
HD keys come from that like most wallets have used for like the last 10 years or more. Like what is the major difference? Like why BRC 100? Is it because of its
Yeah.
simplicity, or is it just because it was proposed, or like
Um,
what is it about BRC 100 that you particularly like?
Very good question. So I'd bring it back to like being replaceable. God forbid anything happens to Project Babbage or like anyone over there, or all that code is open source. Like all that stuff works. I can literally like take all that code and run it myself, and
Yeah.
everything's still there. So, um, like I said, like becoming replaceable. Like unfortunately, um, yeah, like I said, like we don't live forever and stuff, and you don't know what the future holds, no matter, how committed you are to something. Like, we've seen in the past, individuals come and go for their own reasons, but
For sure.
and things, the services they ran cease to exist, and
Yeah.
um, the stack allows you to, um, you know, etch it into stone almost. I don't know,
Yeah.
but something like
No,
that.
for sure. I like it. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your projects. At the Austin Hackathon, it was the gaming platform with some really great incentives. I thought it was a really good submission. And that
Thank
whole
you.
hackathon was really cool. Just up all night, and that whole situation was just a lot of fun hanging out with cool people. Um, in the meantime, you put out Tool BSV, or is
Yes.
Tool BSV or Tool SV? I always mix that
Tool
up.
BSV.
Okay. So I guess you can pick which one. Like, did one inspire the other, or did you just decide, hey, the world needs Tool BSV, so I'm going to put that out first? Or like, where, let's walk
Yeah.
through where you've been since the Austin Hackathon.
Yeah. So my brother and I have all sorts of, fun, crazy ideas, and it's just a matter of, which one we picked to, build that day. But the Tool BSV, so a lot of what we're building right now, honestly, is we're using a lot of tools like AI tools such as like Claude Code,
For sure. Yeah.
Cursor, stuff like that. And on top of that, not only are we trying to, um, you know, write code, but we're trying to make images, make videos. We're trying to go viral on
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah.
So we're honestly trying to build, these AI tools, um, you know, integrated with BSV and Metanet that allow you to generate images, image to image, image to video, allow basically a set of AI tools to create whatever you want, and use it as a tool to help you with whatever it is. So that's where that came from. So
Yeah, cool. We use Claude too. It's funny. Our whole team at Gorilla Pool, we do a lot of internal dev, but we actually take some external dev work too, because we've got more infrastructure experience than almost anybody in BSV. So we get a lot of people that will show up and say, "Hey, I got this cool app idea. Like, where do I start? What do I do?" And so we're like, "Oh, well, we can help if you want." And then it typically ends up, we'll do half the project and then hand it off. Like, we'll kind of do the underlying stuff. The like, "Hey, here's the BSV specific. Now you go build your front end and build your other." But it's funny because our team over the last year, it started with one guy. It started with Luke. Actually, was like, "Bro, I think this Claude thing is gonna be really." And now, like, even the guys who were like, "I'm never have an AI code for me." Like, they're literally just like, "I just run a dev team of bots at this point."
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Earlier before I joined this, I was watching, I think, David Case's live stream.
Yeah.
And I met him in Austin. He's incredibly smart as well. And
Yeah.
I noticed in his GitHub he had like a Claude.md file, which is like what you use when you use Claude Code. And I was in the boat where like they're taking our jobs, right? But but no, now like I'm all in. You have to use it. I like to say like it's 10 times, 100 times what we've been able to do, and it's honestly scary. Like I can't imagine in another 6 months to 12 months like what's possible, what people are. I do stuff all the time now that I have absolutely no experience in. Like the latest thing now, just like buying a $3 a month Hetzner server, right?
Sure.
It's like and just installing Claude Code on it, and you can have Claude Code do all of your DevOps now. Like
I know it's crazy. Well, and it makes it, it's funny because I said the same thing. As soon as it started, I was like, ooh, all those guys who were like, I'm going to spend years of college time like learning how to code and all this stuff. I'm like, man, they're screwed. But now I'm looking at it and it's like, no, it's like, instead of like, maybe if globally we had 1 million developers, now it's like we have 100 million developers, because each one of those devs turns into that. It's like, I just manage a dev team now, a digital one, but it's nonetheless, it's still your job. Like you make your product requirement document. You've just become this like admin level dev, and you get these machines that work. I hate to say, but a lot of people send work to India and China and Ukraine and some of these other places because it's cheaper. And now it's like, oh shoot, like I can have something back in 8 minutes, and it's better than what would have taken 2 weeks sending to another country. And really, I mean, it's revolutionary. So
yeah. And then you combine that, like if we all combine that with building on the Metanet and BRC 100, like it's gonna just one day we're all gonna wake up. And I like to use the what's the movie Ready Player One. Have you seen the movie?
Oh yeah.
So like that gaming world, I think it's called the Oasis, right? Like everyone would they get their headset on and they enter the same world. You know what I mean? Like RuneScape, like that was big back in the day. But there was like thousands of worlds, so like you couldn't really share the same like world. I really think like BSV, like if we all be on the same chain, on the same standards, like we could, like something like Ready Player One is actually really possible. Like
it becomes very possible. And I'm not going to go on a long tangent here, but there is a Ready Player One BSV sub story. So the whole history. What is that? There's an Australian game, Buckaroo Banzai. So look at the history of Buckaroo Banzai, how it influenced Ready Player One, and the correlation it has to the BSV, Bitcoin in general. But there's a whole subplot there that I think everybody needs to look into if you want to do some real rabbit hole diving.
I love a good rabbit hole, so I will.
Yes, sir. So let's talk about Thryll Arcade, which was my introduction to you and what you were up to. Where's that at? What are you working on? How are things going? How's your brother, by the way? Who is also really cool.
Matt's doing great. He wasn't able to make it today, but he's doing great. And Yeah, it was. We got third place at the hackathon. It was really cool to be there and meet everyone, and it was his idea actually. My brother's. We used to, play addictinggames.com growing up, and
Yep.
I think it got sold actually, for like $26 million a few years ago. But if
Yeah.
you go there now, it's like filled with ads, and it takes
Yeah.
like a minute for you to even, uh, you know, play the game. So we thought like we should bring those games back, and BSV is the perfect
Yeah.
use case for it because you could charge small amounts, and we added like a lottery aspect to it. So like each play enters you into a lottery. We use half of the ticket to put you into a lottery jackpot, and then one out of 100, right? That's the
Yeah.
possibilities to win, and everyone likes a chance to win. So we combine those two together. We have two games so far, Stackers and Star Runner. So go check it out, see if you get the high score. And we have some plans. We really want to do multiplayer.
Excuse me.
All good. And then we really want to do like one like I don't like to talk about my plans too much, but multiplayer is big. 1v1 is big, and
Yeah.
really think there's like the holy grail of gaming back in the day was, at least when I used to. I don't do it much anymore, honestly. I do miss it a lot, but Modern Warfare 2,
Oh yeah.
um, back
That was
on
the game, man.
yeah, back on Rust, like 1v1 quick scoping.
Yeah.
Like, what if, I want to put it's like a dollar entry, right? And it's like 10 minutes, and the leaderboard, you just pay off of the leaderboard, and you put a smart contract in there, and you can put all the game data, all the moves on chain. Like, this stuff's going to happen within a year. I don't know if I'm going to do it or if
Yeah.
someone else is going to do it, but we're actually spending a lot of time like trying to do something like this, and it's cool because it's not possible anywhere else. I've seen other
Yeah.
chains try to do stuff, but like
Yeah.
I've seen like a snake game on another chain, and it's just funny because like I know the issues they're having, and
It's
they're
weird seeing them because I mean, GameFi now is 5 years of iteration. I mean, I remember Crypto Kitties and and then all this other stuff. You had Axie Infinity, had a whole ecosystem and all this stuff, but they all keep suffering from the same scalability problem. And like, you talk to game devs, and you realize that they're not. Almost all of them are not actually really game devs. They're like, I just really want my token to pump, And
yeah,
it's actually like that's where crypto fights and stuff started too. They started as an Ethereum project and they moved to BSV because they're like, no, man, we care about our game. And if you care about your game, you want people to be able to play the damn thing, which is,
yeah.
the point of your business, at least in theory.
I love it personally, right? Because like it's given me time before everyone figures it out, right? Like
Yeah.
especially on the Metanet, like with especially Tool, not so much Thrill because it was built like when I first got started, although we're like starting to migrate to a new architecture here. But like with BSV and like overlays and stuff like that, like you can actually build your infrastructure to where you don't have any fixed operating costs, right?
Right.
Like every single interaction that happens on your platform could be paid for by the user, right? And
Yeah.
that's really important for me, right? Because I work 9 to 5 of day job W-2, right? Like I don't have that much money on the side to like be taking big chances, big risks, you know,
Yeah.
$1,000, $2,000 AWS bills, right? I can't do that. I need,
Yeah.
for instance, my Google Cloud Run bill last month was like $4.50. Like
Yeah.
I love that, and as long as that can happen, I can keep Thrill online, I
Yeah.
can keep Tool online, and I can, just work on, the user experience,
Right.
building it once, and, what's it called? Um, I don't know, but forgot the word.
That's
Um,
okay.
yeah,
Well, no, it's that basic sustainability. Like, a lot of the internet was built for big corporates when it was built, and more it is, that level is coming out. It's actually a little bit my article that I wrote this week. I'm talking about, hey, like we can distribute the internet too, because it's a it's a whole problem when you have this whole backbone, and it's great when it works because it's very seamless. Like centralized systems are really good at giving you a good experience until they're not, and then you get that occasional, like Facebook will have a global outage, and or whatever. But there's so much backbone that like if AWS had some kind of weird issue, or this NPM thing that happened over the last like 48 hours, like this massive, it's like, okay, is all the JavaScript on earth broken and like leaking your keys or whatever? And there's so much weird stuff that goes into like these weird centralized systems that, I'm talking about distributed compute and like, look, it might not be the absolute most efficient way to do everything in the universe, but if you had something that's maybe, has some privacy concerns, or, maybe it's proprietary and you don't want that model being sent over to ChatGPT where, Sam Altman's going to steal your business idea because you're having ChatGPT do the work. And, and you read the terms of service and it's encrypted and blah, blah, blah. But then you also get, Sam will be like, well, but if the police come to us with a subpoena, we can hand over your chat. And it's like, well, wait, so what does that mean then? So do I have any privacy at all? And, given some of the very specific cool stuff that you can do with a distributed network, especially with overlays and some of these other things that you can do, really private, really persistent, and just really cool stuff that you cannot do anywhere else. And that always just makes me excited, like both as an entrepreneur, but that's also like old school cypherpunk values in that, like, hey man, we can just spread this out. Nobody will know who did what, but we're getting stuff done. And, the BTC people act like we're not cypherpunks because we don't quote unquote run our own nodes. And like, guys, you quit on the cypherpunk dream. Like we're working on distributed cache, distributed computation, distributed applications, and making the world unstoppable digitally because of this technology. And it's like, have fun staying poor. Like, you guys are the worst, man.
Yeah, it's morally good, honestly, to build here, try to inspire others here. Like the world could be, like if we do it right, like everybody, the whole community, it'll take everybody, right? But there's actually a really big chance here to recreate the internet, user value centric, protecting privacy. Like the first thing I like, make it personal, right? Like I have TikTok and
sure,
I try to avoid TikTok, but I can't. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
But you scroll and like the like they know so much about you, and the algorithm is so good that like they show me exactly what I want to see.
Yep.
And there's value in like showing someone what they want to see, right? But someone without self-control, right, could sit there for 4 to 6 hours, 8 hours.
Totally addicted. Yeah.
Not only addicted, but also get influenced by what they watch.
Yeah.
And I want to live in a world where like business owners and value creators, I shouldn't say value, like business owners want to create value instead of, trying to force you to watch this ad or, forcing you to, think a certain different way. So that's something that we could, do here.
No, for real. It's funny. The Instagram, for whatever reason, the last I think it's since Trump got elected, because I don't typically use Instagram. I don't use any social media really a lot. I use X, but even then it's mostly like me. I'll post and then I disappear unless I get into some kind of argument with somebody that matters. But my social media habits are much more, I like to sit and read. I like YouTube. So I'll read like Substack quite a bit, like that kind of thing. But something about Instagram, like I post a little bit, but at some point over the last 6 months, Instagram got super figured out how much I'm into like weird church history and like the Crusades, and like everything got super, I'm just like, yeah, man, like King Baldwin memes, like, and just like the weirdest crap. But it's like there's groups out there making memes for like hyper historically relevant like religious antagonism and like that kind of thing. And I'm just I'm grappling with whether like, is that on the upswing? Is there something like becoming more culturally relevant about that? Or did the algorithm just figure me out and it's feeding me like the other 30 people on earth that care about this kind of thing? And like, I don't know how you'd audit that, but it seems like, I don't know. It seems like there's a weird cultural shift, and the algorithm's really tight because it started showing me this stuff and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And now I'm like, every time I open it up, it's like, weird, just really weirdly specific, like Protestant versus Catholic versus Orthodox memes. And I'm like, okay, who's out there making 50
Clippers.
memes a day that are really, really good and like hyper deep theologically relevant? And I'm like the weird guy that's like, oh, I get that, man. That's, Aquinas or Augustine or, whoever, John Calvin. Like, oh, this is funny if you're a 5-point Calvinist. But like, anyways, it's
on that note, it brings me to a thought, like the clipping contest you are having or you have,
yes,
right?
yes, not awarded yet, by the way.
Not awarded yet.
Yeah, I've
Which I
seen a
think is
couple
great
good
idea.
ones.
I'm excited
Thank
to
you.
see what. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if you're going to the hackathon. I know you were there last time, but
which one? Up in the Northwest?
In Oregon.
I think it's going to conflict too closely with me going to London because I'm going to be my London trip is going to be longer than the typical event, so I probably can't make it. But we were trying to make it work, and we were actually trying to send somebody, but I don't know if we can make it work.
Yeah, I was thinking of maybe an idea that had to do with that. If you guys are going, I'm not going to be doing this one, but like, an app where you could link your X account or like your TikTok account through like an identity certificate, and
Sure.
People could post their clips, and like you could have people vote on the best clip and stuff like that. But
yeah,
stuff like that just easy to build and still possible now with everything out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's funny. I'm in the middle of writing, and I probably shouldn't dox my whole idea, but I'm writing a series right now for CoinGeek. I call it the Big Idea Series, and they're like business ideas that I've had for Bitcoin for like 10 years, and I'm just definitely not going to do it myself. So I'm just I'm writing them all out. Like, here's everything I thought was a cool idea. Like, run with it. And one of them is social media, similar to where Twitch was going, but I think Twitch's big miss is that Twitch should have been a Twitter client. Like, everyone on Twitter should have wanted to use Twitch so that when you use Twitch, you monetize your tweets rather than trying to suck people into Twitch. It should have just been, I use Twitter through the Twitch client, and because of that, I can monetize my tweets in this system. And so that's my idea. I've got a bunch of details about it. Exactly. Well, because there used to be Twitter clients. Like, Twitter was an open source protocol many years ago. I think it's probably been close to 15 years now that's been closed.
I did not know that. Wow.
When Twitter first came out, I used to use a Twitter client that was on my desktop. So I used to do internet marketing back in the day, starting like 2006. I think I started my marketing agency. And there were all these various Twitter clients, and it allowed you to really have this powerful Twitter experience. And it was like semi-code too. Like, you could just like backslash and throw in little snippets of things to like make Twitter do cool stuff through these clients. And anybody could just build one. And so there was a bunch of competition to who could build the best Twitter client. And then all of a sudden they just shut it down. They locked it all up. And like, now you can only use the official Twitter app and blah, 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 because the money's in them controlling the data. That's, how they've become, multi-billion-dollar company. But with their API, when it was free anyways, now it's even worse because X makes you pay for API access. But back when Twitch was brand new, it's like, man, guys, it should just be an open Twitter client that allows you to monetize. And so get people to join Twitch, but all they're doing is using Twitter through this window. And because of that, you can tip and block and, troll toll and all the other like amazing ideas that they had, but without having to break up with the network effect. I just think that would have been that much better. Twitch was awesome, but the network effect is so hard.
That's a really good idea too. And like, it's good to point out, like, so much has been learned since then, right? Like, I believe like it became really like really costly to like maintain Twitch from like a chain perspective, because like before it was like we were using not we, but like the Unirator tools, right? Like, people had to like have the whole chain, and they're indexing the whole chain and stuff, or like kind of right with they were kind of indexing the whole chain, but through like with all the cool stuff that you guys are doing at like a Jungle Bus and with the Project Babbage stack as well, like there's solutions now to like make this much more maintainable,
Yeah.
much more cost efficient, and
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time, whether it's someone and that's the most exciting part because like when it comes down to, like math and economics, right? Like if you want to build any of this stuff, the most cost efficient way to do it is on this chain. From what I've seen, I haven't seen it
Oh yeah.
anywhere else.
Okay, so you can monetize it on day one, and I mean it might be
Yep,
pennies coming in on day one, but it's still
micro
something. Like
businesses.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so cool. What is what's your advice, for the kind of people that maybe want to build a game? Like Brain Rot Games is another new one that comes out. I guess technically a competitor to you guys, but ideally there's a robust ecosystem where there's 5 or 6 serious companies and then maybe 50, semi-amateur, but like really competitive or like really cool stuff that are all kind of doing the same thing. What's your advice to somebody that wants to say, kick off their own app or kick off their own game or do something? Like where should they start? I get people ask me this all the time, like what wallet, what, all this stuff. And it's like, well, if I tell them hand cash and then they're in the hand cash vertical, or if I tell them yours wallet, then it's all again, like we're a little bit verticals, even though there's more interoperability, it still kind of sets you down a path. But where would you tell a new dev, some guy who's like, hey man, I'm like a full stack generalist and I've got this idea. What do I do, John?
Yeah. So yeah, I love Brain Rot Games. I'm on there. I've been
Yeah.
on Handcash since like 2017. But honestly, the first thing I would do is I would ask them like, ever heard of Claude Code? Do you like
Yeah.
do anything of that, right? Because that could really 10 times you instantly right away. Uh, and then if I tell them to like, if you want to build something where your users, um, don't have to worry about, the service they're using to ever like end, like their identity as a component themselves. I would tell them to check out bitgenius.net. I would tell them to go to bsvhackathon.com,
Yep.
and the resources there, like someone with no coding experience can definitely like build some MVPs. Check out the MVPs there. Yeah, and then that's where I would really tell them to go because you can build solutions there that are very cheap to build, very cheap to maintain, cheap to deploy,
Yep.
and you can start your own micro business, right? And
Yep.
that's a gamble that I'm making on BRC 100, right? Like, um, I'm driven by profit, right? Like, I want to make profit in these micro businesses, and I also envision like if we all can agree to compete on the standard, I think it's the best standard, and it helped BSV when I think you know if you build these micro businesses, like your micro business doesn't even technically have to be successful if like we're correct in the stance that like if like the chain wins, like
Right.
if this economic chain wins, like you also win. So it's
Yep.
sort of like yeah, like you're squaring it or yeah to the
Yeah.
power of. So
Well, it's
um,
it's just like the internet itself. Like when you talk about AOL, like AOL was created by, I forget the guy's name now, but he created AOL because he had a business in mind that was kind of a mix between like iTunes, Napster, and Netflix. And but he was like, there's no way to distribute this idea because the internet doesn't really exist yet. And so he had to essentially take a 10-year step backward to create AOL just to get people comfortable with using the internet. And then by the time he got to the end of it, it's like, okay, somebody else built all my other business ideas. But he believed in the power of the infrastructure. And, granted, AOL made a lot of money for a long time before it didn't. But it's funny because now we have this monetary incentive built in with like the price of the coin and all this other stuff that like, hey, there is an access token for the creation of this network, and you can accumulate that access token at any price that you want if you're a little bit of a risk taker. But then if you're building this universe that uses the network for which there is a valued asset token, then all of a sudden it turns into, hey, I really want to use that network. And then the access token has, scarcity built in and whatever, but it allows all of it. Like, I've been like this internet native. I was born in 86. So I grew up as the internet was becoming a thing, like I remember getting online the first time when I was probably, I don't know, 10 years old or something. and like, wow, like there's so much opportunity and so much cool stuff to do here. But imagine if at that point I could have been like, okay, where can I start investing into this idea? And you didn't really have that opportunity. And you do have the opportunity in this Metanet blockchain paradigm, and it's just what an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, like the way these Web2 companies were working, right? Like it's very extraction based, and like the Metanet can truly sorry, just getting some water.
You're good. I'm in the same boat. I know you've got a little bit of a cold, and I'm sitting here doing this. Like when you're talking, I'm like, okay, mute, cough, sneeze, sniffle.
Yeah, I've been fighting a cold too. Got one like last week, but sorry, I totally lost my train of thought there.
Oh, like the Metanet paradigm, like the fact that you can invest in the infrastructure by investing in the access token and the opportunity there.
Yeah, like the number of things that can be done like on the chains between like Internet of Devices and stuff, like there's not even really enough, like I mean there are enough Satoshis for them to do it, but you can see really like if this is used everywhere, it could be really valuable, right? And it's sort of like, yeah, I want to make profit too, but I also want to live in a world where like the Metanet is the internet, where it's like user centric, it's like user centric and not like value extraction centric.
Oh, and it's just so cool. Like I can't relate with the people, and I get so many people. It's literally daily for me because I've got kind of a big reach. But the people who, man, when are you ready to admit you were wrong and that you've lost? And I'm like, bro, I'm so excited about my daily work here.
Exactly.
And it's just such a weird. And this is why I've come to the conclusion that it has to be malicious. I mean, some of these people have known me for a decade, and they're like, he's still pretending. And I'm like, no, guys, I really actually think this is cool.
Yeah, on that note too, like there's a lot of malicious stuff happening on Twitter against, and like I don't know, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but it's
we can't. Actually, we should save it for the Rad TV post show. So anybody who doesn't know, we do a 10-minute post show. If you subscribe to Rad TV, you can watch the CoinGeek Weekly live stream. Totally uncensored. We can get into the crazy stuff. So yeah, maybe let's save it for the post show for the audience that really wants to get into the smoke show.
I will say here, like it's kudos to like you and like everything you got going on at Gorilla Pool and everything you do and Project Babbage, and like because you actually have to be able to like take a few shots from anonymous people on Twitter, and people like me, like I see that, and I value like what you do and what you guys do, and
I appreciate that,
because it's not, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't. I know it's not. It can't be like that. It can't be easy, So
yeah,
but you're strong and do jujitsu and stuff, so I'm sure you'd be able to hold your own if it ever came to it. But
no, for sure. But it is kind of funny though. Like you get the internet tough guys who they do sometimes do come in with actual physical threats, and I'm just like, I'll give you the smoke, man. If that's how I want. Like,
I love that. Yeah.
I guess. Like I'm a lot bigger than the average male, and I've been a martial artist my entire adult life. So.
And a Florida man, right? Are you?
And a Florida man, right? Yeah. I'm like I'm never not armed.
Yeah.
So, like, and I will just feed you to the gators that literally live in the canal behind my house. Yeah.
No shoes, no sandals. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You guys have no idea. So, where's home for you? Whereabouts? If you want to keep it private.
Yeah, near Tampa, just south of Tampa.
Oh yeah, okay. I thought so. I was like, are you a Texas guy, or Florida guy? No, that's great.
Yeah, I moved here from Michigan during COVID.
Yeah.
So fled. The governor there, she had us locked in our homes. No, not saying it's wrong or right, but
we were the same.
There.
I was Illinois, like Midwestern blue state, and like this is hell. Well, because I mean, not only that, it's like you couldn't even go outside just to walk around because it's like 20 degrees below zero for 3 months out of the year, and I was just like, I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah, it was perfect timing. I was like moving out of my parents' house at the same time, so it was kind of like COVID, and it was like the perfect accumulation of events for the move. Where are you from originally? You just said
Chicago, basically. Not proper, but just outside of. I was in the Chicago burbs for most of my adult life.
Bears fan?
I'm not a big sports fan, but I definitely go to a Bears game, once or twice a year. I was a Sox fan, but not a big enough fan to go to the park very often because that neighborhood is rough. And it's funny, I would go to Cubs games more often than Sox games just because like Wrigleyville was awesome. But
yeah, I've been there once. That's pretty good there.
Yeah. How about yourself? Were you like a Detroit guy or?
I was equally south of Detroit as I am now of Tampa.
Okay.
Playing hockey my whole life and
Sure.
sports along that. Feel like got a competitive nature from that, and went to school at the University of Michigan, and just
cool. Did you study like computer science and software, or were you like?
Yep, I got a bachelor's degree in software engineering back in 2017. So
nice.
It was thankful for it. It's still really useful. So if anyone's out there, you can still learn to code. It's useful.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's probably more useful. I like I said earlier, I was worried at first. Now it's like, no, this is great. You can have a global staff in an afternoon with a credit card. It's awesome.
I have a question for you, actually. What are you most excited about, like maybe in the next few months surrounding like the overlay networks you guys are doing there and the indexers and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it right there. Like we're super pumped about Terranode stuff. I have to keep because we've been testing Terranode. Like my excitement, I have to kind of hold in. Like I can't tell people like, oh my god, you're not gonna believe what we just did over here. But Terranode just got me super pumped. It's a really really cool piece of software, and I think it's going to change a lot about a lot. Also, like there are some big players that have been warmed up for a lot of years and waiting for Terranode too. Terranode is a few years late at this point, and a lot of people have been told like, yeah, no, next year we can take on your big project, and now they're actually getting like, hey guys, remember 3 years ago we said it'd be a year? Well, it's actually happening, during this quarter, and we need to get that pilot starter back up, and people are pumped. But then on that stuff, like we at Gorilla Pool, like we developed the Go SDK for BSV. Also alongside the Babbage guys who made the TS SDK and whatever. So they cross pollinate probably 75%. Like Go is a little more infrastructure, and TS is a little more front endy, but there's tons of crossover too. So it's been really cool working with their team, kind of adjacent on that kind of stuff. And then from a tooling standpoint, it's like, okay, well, now that we've got the SDK, now let's try to deploy. Like, what would an overlay look like instead of relying on a Gorilla Pool managed indexer? What would it look like if there was a peer-to-peer like situation where everybody kind of indexed and or everybody who cares anyways? And I think that kind of stuff, just being like JP Morgan can release JP Morgan coin and they only keep an index of JP Morgan coin, but so can the various local branches or whatever else. And like there's a lot of really novel, important, powerful stuff that we've some of it developed totally from scratch. And it's like, there could be $1 trillion going over some of the rails that we helped create in a year or more. But
I love what you guys do. I think it's like it could be like the icing on the cake to where like I know a lot of it is like token indexers and stuff. And I think like the missing piece to maybe attract a lot more developers in the future might be like being able to launch these tokens to for a governance token or whatever's legal in the future. Like I know like what's legal now, but like I think that stuff is coming, and when that stuff's available and easier to use, like that's going to be big. I'm excited like in the money token, and like I'm sure there's gonna be other cool tokens and stuff like that, and that's like so.
No, it's powerful stuff. And which reminds me, people, again, they should read my article because I didn't just come up with why and how people should tokenize, but I also came up with the token ticker because I think there should be an incentive with a token that's built into it too. Like people should want to hold the asset of that overlay network. And so I called it comp token, probably taken by some other stupid project. But for the sake of the argument, people should keep compute. They should want to compute in order to acquire comp, and they should want comp to want to go up in value because more people need to pay for distributed compute. And
Absolutely.
like, Absolutely. I think there's a really cool business model there that I want people exploring because we're the only people that can actually do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's been Ethereum projects that have tried to do that, and that's great. Like distributed compute is a cool idea, but when your fee goes to like, oh, it's $800 per transaction on ETH, I can't cash out any of my earnings, and like that's it, business model dead. And
before you even started. Yep.
Yeah, big. We got Gavin Mell leading a conversation here in the troll box, letting me know I'm invited to talk to Siggy on stage Friday, on the Gavin Mell X space, presumably. Yeah. Looks like X space. So I'd love to shoot me an email. Let me know what time. If I'm not doing something with the children, I'd be very happy to talk to you and Siggy and whoever else.
Was he on this show was it here last week?
He was on Siggy was on Gavin's show. Yeah. I watched it 2 or 3 days ago. I don't know exactly when it happened, but it was really good. It was a good interview.
He's very impressive. It's nice knowing, he's leading the charge, It's
very professional.
Yes.
I think, one of the big problems basically with blockchain in general is it's a lot of guys who are developers with no business and no managerial experience. And Siggy has run a dev team at a big corporate for his whole career before getting into Bitcoin like 6 or 7 years ago. And so to him, he's like, cool, I can manage 50 professional devs and all this stuff. And it's like, wow, look how productive a real pro can be. That's pretty refreshing.
Yeah, and I love looking at like the BSV-blockchain GitHub repo, because it's like a lot of it's open source, and like you can find some hidden gems in there. Some of the people committing in those repositories, you look at some of the stuff they're working on, and it's really cool. So like I'd anyone go check it out, because there's some really cool stuff, some really cool tools.
For sure.
I saw like a cool Claude agents repo that you could hook up to Claude code and make it super easy to build this stuff. And it just goes with my point earlier, like we're at a point in time right now that like it's going to be very easy to build things, and the only thing limiting like what you want to build is the infrastructure you build it on. So like if your chain can't handle it, like that's the only thing that's going to stop you, and that's true for every single chain out there. So build here.
No, amen. All right, we got about a minute and a half. Final word, John. I'm going to let you say anything you want to the crowd, as long as it's like PG-13 or better. And
absolutely. Go to gorillapool.com, right?
Yes.
New UI.
Yes.
So go check that out.
Secret launch. But yeah, anybody watching, check out gorillapool.com. We just updated it. So thank you.
No problem. After that, go to metanetapps.com. Okay. Check out all the cool apps there. Download the Metanet wallet. You'll find a link there somewhere. Once you do, there's 2 of my apps I'd love you to try out. Tool BSV.com, Thryll.online. We got Twitter accounts. Please, any questions, DM me. Love to send you some Satoshis if you want to try something out. As long as it's on as long as you got a Metanet wallet. Okay.
There you go.
Only prerequisite there. But yeah, thank you so much, Kurt, for having me on. It was really
for sure
nice talking to you. And if you don't make it to the hackathon, all good.
Well, shoot, we only live 3 hours away, man. We should meet in the Everglades and have an alligator burger or something.
I love that, man. Or alligator Alcatraz. Yeah, I don't know, something.
There you go. Yeah, we'll both end up there eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah. But, would love to. So
sounds good.
I'll keep in touch.
Cool, man. All right, thanks again. Let's drop down, and the Mr. Producer, if there was a question or anything that you loved there, you can bring that up if there was anything appropriate for just me. And then we're going to record the post-show chaos for Rad TV. So all you Rad TV subscribers can see the conspiracy theory marathon that the CoinGeek Weekly Livestream turns into exclusively on Rad TV. Hi, what is the point of a money stablecoin when I thought BSV wanted to be money itself and get away from fiat and USD? I don't know that Bitcoin was actually created to get away from fiat and the US dollar, at least not necessarily. I think that's a tail benefit to the successful adoption of a commodity-based currency. But I should clarify. I would have asked the same question 5 years ago. I thought stable coins were like, that's it, we're going to lose because stable coins are going to just keep everybody in a fiat mindset. But everybody's in a fiat mindset anyways. And so that's kind of the frame that you have to start with almost everybody on earth. You have to tell them, okay, you know what money is? And most people picture US dollars, which is an inappropriate thing if you understand anything about money. But there's like 10 billion people on earth or something that's what they think of when you tell them money exists. And so you got to start there, and stablecoins help you start there, show the power of the blockchain, and then move forward. So it's kind of like doing missionary work. Like you might need to get a little bit uncomfortable in order to make some new friends, and that's how you start. Let me know if there are any others, Mr. Producer. I'd be happy to take another question or two before we wrap up the show and then get ready to record for Red TV. Any more? Looks like a no. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm Kurt Wuckert Jr. Our guest this week was John Calhoun. Please check him out on X and check out all the other stuff that he wanted you to check out. Thryll Arcade, Tool BSV, and all the stuff going on in the Metanet ecosystem. Really exciting times. I'm Kurt Wuckert Jr. reminding you, be good to each other. And we will see you next week at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or you can subscribe to Rad TV to catch the after party. So we will see you next week.